Hello everybody, welcome back. I'm here to be talking about Final Space. Now, Final Space, as many of you know, was one of the many unfortunate properties, whether a movie, show, etc., that was unceremoniously axed by Warner Bros. Discovery. And originally, I believe it was last year when they were canceled, they weren't renewed for Season 4, which sucks in so many ways due to the fact that Season 3 left off on a cliffhanger. And it just wanted, like, there was this big hype, like, we need to bring this back. Everyone was trying to rally behind it. But then the creator, not too long ago, when the Batgirl was being written off as a tax write-off, that Scooby-Doo movie that they made, like, stuff that was already finished was being written off. And then he announced that, yeah, this is also being written off. So, really, Warner Brothers Discovery kind of fucked over a lot of people that worked with them, and it's really disgusting just how malice and cold-hearted they are. That yes, you could put your blood, sweat, and tears into properties like this, but we're gonna screw you over. We're gonna cancel all of your stuff that you worked hard on. No one's gonna be able to see it. And as he says, that's why it's being taken off of streaming services, off of physical media, because they aren't going to be allowed to make profit from it, so they're just going to stop showing it. It's going to pretend like it never existed. And it's really messed up. So that a part of that, really wanted me to watch the show, and there was this game I was farming with a buddy on PlayStation, so I was like, you know what, while we're farming on this game, let's watch this show and see how it is. Did it deserve all this? Even if it was bad, which I'm not saying it is, no property, nothing that someone worked on should be treated like this. But with all that said, I'm going to be diving into seasons 1, 2, and 3 of Final Space. Now, before I really get into it, I'm going to try not to do spoilers, because I know there's like links out there, like sites to go look on to watch it. And normally I would say don't do that, don't pirate or whatever. But if they're getting rid of it and there's no other way you can watch this show, you guys deserve to go check this show out, because it doesn't deserve this. So I'm going to try not to do spoilers, but here we go. So season 1 of Final Space, it takes place in space, hence the title, and it's an animated show, and you follow your main character, Gary, who has been a prisoner on this ship for like a couple years now, and it's like the same mundane life. He's working maintenance on the ship, there with a bunch of robots, and of course everyone's favorite, Kevin. Everyone loves no, everyone hates Kevin. But when there's this little ball, like this alien ball that comes into his life named Mooncake, who is being hunted by a very bad person in the Lord Commander. He wants to protect it and stick with it. And then some of the people's guards from the Lord Commander come, including one of your main characters in Avocado, who has a son that's imprisoned by the Lord Commander. And so they team up with a common goal to not only help Avocado save his kid, but also to protect this little ball of energy, Mooncake. And from there, the story really starts to kick in. You start to be introduced to a bunch of other characters that become part of the crew, because what I like about this show is the character starts off by himself with a bunch of robots, but over time the crew starts to grow with, Avocado, his kid Loocado, Quinn, who is the love interest. Like, he really likes her, even though she doesn't remember him or know him at all, and she's kind of the reason why he was in prison in the first place. But anyways, like, the whole thing, that's the whole premise of the season, is to help, the objectives is to protect Mooncake, save Avocado's kid, stop the Lord Commander. 3 really simple objectives, but how the show tells it is there's lots of fun humor in it. A lot of it is kind of weird and doesn't stick with me, to be fair with you, but I was laughing throughout the show, so it did something right. The animation I thought was really fun too, and it just did some stuff that was like crazy that I wasn't expecting them to do, and I was like, wow, that's messed up. But then I gotta remember, it is TV mature, because when you're watching it, originally it doesn't feel like it's gonna be like that, but it kind of reminds me of that same art style as like a Futurama or something like that. So it's in that kind of same ballpark of adult animated, type comedies. It's in the same ballpark as, Futurama. it kind of reminds you of like Family Guy, South Park. It's in that same grown-up genre of adult animation. And it's in that aspect, it's really different because there isn't really any that I can think of that are in that same, besides Futurama, that are in that same type of atmosphere and type of, world building outside of just Earth. So, in terms of that, it's really creative and it was really entertaining and I had a lot of fun with this season. But, of course, as it goes on, like many shows that are considered really good or great, you can only go up. And the show definitely does go up in a lot of aspects in terms of character developments, emotional beats, storytelling, and of course the animation improves, but I'm getting ahead of myself. Season 1 I thought was a great introduction to the show. It had some good character beats, some wacky humor that sometimes doesn't stick, solid animation, and it leaves off on the dreaded cliffhanger, which all these seasons do. And it wants you to keep binging and keep watching to see what happens next. So with all that said, those are my thoughts on Season 1 of Final Space. Now, Season 2 of Final Space picks immediately after Season 1, where, they didn't really win. They kind of lost because their goals that they were trying to set, through didn't really pan out. They did succeed in some aspects, like defeating the villain, but they lost a lot of crucial stuff, like certain characters were lost and certain items and objects, so they basically have to regroup, and there's new characters added to the group, like Clarence and his 2 kids, and Ash and Fox, and they basically have a MacGuffin that they need to go after, who they're told by this Titan, because there's a lot of world building that's done, and I can't believe I glossed over that in Season 1. But there are these Titans that want to destroy, the universe and stuff, but they're all trapped in Final Space, and one of their crew members is also trapped in Final Space, and so the MacGuffins are these interdimensional keys. I believe there's 6 of them. They need to collect them all to be able to open a portal into Final Space to save not only their teammate, but to save other stuff that they've lost. And so the whole season is basically hunting on MacGuffins, the keys, to try to get there. But you do have some one-off episodes that kind of play on their own, but you do have the overarching arc of the key in there. There's some character beats that happen, like, Gary's mom shows up, and you did get a lot of development with what happened with his dad and stuff like that, really heartfelt stuff. And then how his mom is really horrible, right? But like with a lot of characters in shows, and especially in this one, they're able to redeem themselves and add to the team. And it's really unique, I feel, to see, because how they introduce this character is she's awful, and just how she treats her son and stuff, it's like crazy. But she kind of turns a 180 and starts to become more of a better person. And so watching redemption arcs like that and seeing people grow as people, I like that type of stuff. I'm a sucker for redemption arcs and, underdog stories and etc. So I really enjoyed that. And there was again, the animation improves. The plot, I feel like, is more, it isn't as as crazy as Season 1 with this evil person that wants to it isn't like that, right? It's kind of a slow burn, but once it picks up near the end, especially where characters that you thought were dead in the previous season come back, and then they're possessed by an even bigger threat than you could imagine, and there's some sacrifices that happen in the end of the season, and they go into the Final Space, which will lead into Season 3, but overall Season 2 was solid. I like how the overall plot was a bit different, so it kind of differentiates itself, I know I pronounced that wrong, from the previous season, but it was really entertaining and fun. Great animation, some really solid character beats. I was really enjoying myself with this season, and those are my thoughts on Season 2. Alright, now Season 3 is where shit hits the fan, because they, as you see with the previous 2 seasons, they're able to succeed in saving their comrade who was trapped in Final Space after the entire season of trying to save them. But now their main issue is how are they going to get out? And so they basically are fractured. They're split up for the first couple episodes. They lose a lot. Like, a lot of main characters die in this season. I was shocked, especially near the end. And it just feels like this over sense of dread, like they're screwed. Even though like they're the main characters, right? And especially knowing that the show was canceled, I was really worried that I was going to end on a big cliffhanger, which it did. And and it's really unfortunate, but it wasn't like, will they get out or not, because we do know the answer to that. So that was my main concern, because the whole season was them trapped here. And you want them to be able to get out. Even if there's another cliffhanger or whatever, you just want them to get out of this area, because they're dying from these toxins and poison of being in final space. It's slowly killing all of them. And they almost killed the person that was trapped in there the whole time, but they were able to do some trickery to save that person, which was great. And you have some big character beats where characters that were on your side go to the dark side and become evil. And you have characters like villains from past seasons that show up in a, like, you weren't expecting them to show up. And then you have some getting some huge power-ups and you're like, oh crap. And then it all comes to a head in the final episode, where a lot of emotional stuff was revealed about certain characters' past. And I gotta say though, like, I wanna, minor spoilers, right? I gotta say, the part with Avocado and Lowcado, I was, like, they don't look alike, right? But holy shit, I was not expecting that. And just how it all hit the fan, I was like, that's crazy. And I gotta say, even the emotional fight between Avocado and Gary, that was crazy, man. It was so well done. And how that basically, them talking about, you know, there's like little stuff that are building up for the person who betrays them, on if they're on the right side or not, if they're with the bad guys, or they need to join the main bad guy because they think that they're the actual good guy. And that was the catalyst that had that happen. It was like, wow. It was like, they add like trauma and emotional beats, but it isn't just thrown in just to make you feel bad. It ties into the overall story. And I love when that stuff happens, where other events spiral into the main plot. And I really enjoyed that section in particular. I was like, wow. And again, a lot of the people who end up being, you know, killed, it was shocking. I was like, whoa. And it really got me thinking, who else is going to die? Because no one was really safe. Like, even, who knows, maybe they'd even kill the main character, Gary. Like, you just don't know. And when it gets to the end and the cliffhanger happens and then it ends, you're like, damn, that show was so good. Why did they have to cancel it? That sucks. And I really hope they bring it back. I hope they, you know, quote unquote, renew Final Space, as everyone was saying right when this news came out. But it's tragic. They deserve to at least have a finish. If not a full season, just give them a special, something to end off on, because you can't end your show like this. That's not fair to the people who put time, work into working on this show, and to the audience who sat and watched this show. It's just not fair. And it's, like I said, screw Warner Bros. Discovery. That's messed up what they're doing to their talents. But sidetrack, back to the season. Solid animation, great emotional character beats that are like, wow. I was like, it really sticks with me in some ways. And some like, just how it ends, it's like, wow, this season is like at the best it's been. I feel like it kept improving, even though a lot of stuff about it was kind of wacky and didn't really click with me in terms of the humor department and stuff. In terms of plot developments, I just enjoyed watching this show. And those were my thoughts on season 3. Again, those were my thoughts on all 3 seasons of Final Space. What are your thoughts on it if you have seen it? If you haven't, watch it. You guys gotta watch it. And I want you to hit the subscribe button and the bell as well to get notified on when I upload, and comment down below. And I would really appreciate it. And I know this video is kind of crazy, but I do appreciate you all watching, and I hope to see you all in the next video. Bye.